You're probably suffering a lot right now. You may have just used and said you won't use again. Maybe you can't sleep. It's 3 a.m. Maybe you've tried to quit before and before and before, and it just keeps going back to square one. I know the challenges that you faced. I was a drug addict. And this video isn't just simply just say no or just don't do it type of video. This video is going to be a longer video than I normally do on this channel, and it's because it's a very serious situation. This context and this usage of cocaine, unfortunately, is killing us. For the context of this video, it will have to be intentional listening. What is the point of talking? What is the point of a video? What's the point of going to see professional help? Well, actually talking, you'll be able to realize just how much cocaine has got you by a grip. I'm Gary, a best-selling author, an ex-addict and an addiction therapist who's helped dozens and dozens of clients get fantastic results on their recovery journey around alcohol, cocaine, other drugs, cannabis, and porn and gambling. This is a very serious situation for me, and I struggle with all of those things, and I don't anymore, I'm grateful to say. Let's address that elephant in the room. What is the point of talking and how does it help? I often ask clients, one of the first questions on the first meeting, why are you here? And they say, obviously, to get help. And I say, okay, how does help work? And they say, well, I'm just talking. And that's it. That's the fundamental level that they have, just talking. But it's not just talking. You, me, everybody sees the world a certain way. And if we see the world a certain way, let's say I think the world is out to get me, or I think the world is negative, or I think the world is bad, well then why wouldn't I go use a substance? And it's fleshing out your situations around your family, career, finances, health, all of those things, understanding those traumas, trials, tribulations, passings, grief, all of those things. When they're out in the air, you can get a different perspective, a healthier understanding and healthier beliefs. For me, my dad passed away. He unalived himself. And then when that happened, I went into a dark depression. My depression was real. I was really, like, that was the real reality. I can't fake being happy. I can't fake being confident, because that was the real reality. I was really depressed. And that's how life is. Life is bad. Life is terrible. But I completely ended my own misery. I was in my own misery, in my own crap. And for you, maybe you're there right now. So, talking isn't just talking. It's about reframing, challenging, and adapting. And in this video, we're going to get into a bit more of that, of why it's gripped you and how we're going to change it. So why is cocaine so hard to quit? And in this part, I'm going to break it into 3 sections. The first one being the dopamine hijack. Cocaine literally is the reward system best thing ever. And what I mean by that, I would have made a video a long time ago that cocaine increases your dopamine levels. It spikes it by 300%. Eating chocolate by 50%, having sex by 100%, cocaine 300%, it increases your dopamine levels. It is literally rewiring what's good. Good is a subjective thing. What's good to you, what's good to me is different. This new high is your new standard of what good is. It has completely warped your brain into believing that this is now good. This life, this substance, this use is good, but it's not. The next is the speed of the high. If you snort cocaine, it will directly get into your system incredibly fast, and for the next 45 minutes you're going to be like moves like Mick Jagger, on the dance floor. You're going to be your jaw's on the dance floor, you're at the bar still. It's going to be devastating, but the speed is so high and so fast that it trains the brain that this is an amazing thing. I can get rewards, I can feel great just like this. The speed of the high is another problem of why it is so addicting. And I know from working with clients, even when I was a user, maybe you experienced this too. When you contact someone, the buzz, the thrill of them getting ready, them coming, the text when they've arrived, all of this whole sequence of events is a heightened state of consciousness. It's a heightened state of euphoria. But unfortunately, it's the false reality that we're feeling. And the third component of this is the lifestyle component. Your friends probably use it, and maybe you're dry sniffing on your own. And that's where the end of addiction usually will happen with cocaine, where they're dry sniffing on their own. But maybe you're using with your friends, irregularly or regularly. Maybe you think it's a great drug. Maybe you deep down think this is cool, this is for rich people, this is for famous people, this is the 80s drug. All of these beliefs are going against you getting off it. I have 101 walls between me using cocaine again. It ruins finances, ruins family life, ruins relationships. It just brings in negative people. It ruins future prospects. You don't become a good role model. It destroys your health, what it's made of. I've buried those things deep, and it's going to take a lot of crap. In fact, it's not going to happen to where I go back and I use such a substance. And just to wrap up on that point, environment beats willpower. You have to know that. What's the number one reason why someone would relapse? I personally think it's their friend group. Again, if you're dry sniffing, you're next level. And if you're not seeing your friends, you're avoiding them, that's next level, which there's nothing wrong with that. But the number one reason why someone's going to relapse, in my book, is friends. Environment outbeats willpower. Remember that. That's very sad, very honest, very true, but maybe the most helpful note. So a little bonus part on this video, it might be very interesting to you, is what's cocaine made of? Do you know what it's made of? And you might think one or two things, which they're probably right, but I'll tell you, it's made of cocoa leaves. So it's great, right? It's fantastic. It's very healthy. No, unfortunately not. Those cocoa leaves, you're going to need a ton of that to have a kilo of cocaine, by the way. A ton of cocoa leaves for a kilo. That gets moved onto these, cocaine farms, you can call them. And what happens? It gets blended up. And as it gets blended up, cement mix gets poured onto it. Listen to that. Cement mix. Rat poison. This all gets blended again. Mixed up together, gets moved and siphoned into a big barrel. All of this crazy components. Ammonia is spreaded on top. What is ammonia? It's basically stuff that's in your bleach. It's in your bleach spray. That's my understanding. Next, sulfuric acid. The stuff you find in your battery. Like battery acid. Next, you find this aspect of gasoline. Petrol. That gets doused on top to filter, like water and oil. You know the way the oil or the water always rises to the bottom or the top? I think oil goes to the bottom, water goes to the top. It's the same thing in this situation. You get this cocaine liquid. It's extracted from the cocoa leaves. The cocaine goes to the bottom of the barrel. Someone siphons it out into a bucket. That bucket then gets put onto a tray. That paste, let's say, that tray gets boiled, cooked. Now it turns into this paste, and then it gets cooked again and again until it is this fine, hard, crystallized, strong block of paste. And then it's simply sent over to other countries, smuggled through people's you-know-what. And then when it lands in our country, what is it mixed with? Do you know what it's mixed with? And a couple of things that it is mixed with is nowadays fentanyl. Fentanyl is 300 times more potent than heroin. That's an insane statistic. This is also why there's many overdoses right now. Next is this element of paracetamol. It's this numbing effect that someone might feel. Or it's this back of the throat where it's really, really, you can barely drink. You can, stuff's falling from your nose into your throat. It's disgusting. And also this element of just simple creatine or simple other additives that are non-useful in some way, shape or form, or non-impactful, but it gives you a denser compact. And if you're in a main city, you might be getting the quote-unquote better stuff than someone that's way distributed down the countries, down the road, how much times it's been chopped up. Take that in consideration as well from where you are from. This was a bonus section of this video. I'm grateful that you like that, but let's go into the next aspect. 3 phases of quitting for good. Quitting can be broken down into many phases, and every single one could be a phase, but I'm going to break it into 3. And in those 3, there's going to be subsections for each of those. So early doors, physical, you yourself, your body is going to have these intense, unlikely, unhealthy cravings and symptoms. Your physical symptoms that you could have is fatigue, immense, no energy, no sex drive, either increase appetite, decrease of appetite. Sleeping might be a challenge in terms of insomnia. You could also have your mental challenges, easily agitated, more stress, higher mood swings, anxiety, even anhedonia, feeling of nothingness. All of these things, you yourself will likely feel these in the first couple of days of your challenge, of your stopping, of your quitting. Your first 1 to 2 weeks could be filled with those. Along with your physical aspect of your life, some practical steps you could do, not only with what you will feel likely, but what you could actually do is this. You could delete the dealer's numbers. Get rid of them. You don't need them anymore, and you won't. I knew a client once that memorized his client's number, his dealer's number. That's fascinating. He knew 2 numbers, his parents and his dealer. You don't want to be in that situation. if you have them on Snapchat, which is a popular thing, delete yours or theirs without a trace, without a doubt. Get rid of it. If you have the substance in your system or you have it in your location, again, flush it down the toilet, destroy it as fast, as quick as possible. Maybe you want to sell it, and I'm not advising you do that, but that is a thing that you could do. Then also, you yourself, maybe it's good to get out of your location, out of your environment, leave. It might be easier for you for a week holiday, 2-week holiday, to feel all this crap feelings in your own hotel room with your partner or with someone else. That's a physical aspect of quitting for good. We've got to look at the challenges physically you're going to deal with and some steps, practical steps that you can actually take. Next, reduce your physical isolation. What does that mean? It means do not be on your own 24/7 throughout this upcoming short period of time. You may not want to tell your friends because they will be taboo, you'll be ousted, you'll be crazy. Why aren't you using anymore? You're a weirdo, right? Or you have got really good friends that don't use. Maybe you have 2 groups, 3 groups of friends like we all do, right? Those groups over there, this group over there. But the likelihood of you hanging around the sober group or the friendly or the weird maybe group is not a lot, because you were doing this all the time. They moved away from you. You moved away from them because you went with the cool kids, the cool guys, right? Because we're all cool when we take drugs. Crazy thought process. Next on the line is this. As you tell someone, either it's a partner, family, friend, someone close, even getting professional help. Getting professional help can be a great step. Without a doubt, it is advised. Going to meetings, NA meetings, SMART meetings, create SMART goals, rehab facility if you feel you need it. But get professional help and let them advise you if you should go there before you. There's a strange undertone that happens where it's like, I would love to go to rehab to prove that it doesn't work so I can come out and say that it's all a load of crap. I have no clue what this undertone is, this theme that I feel from people. Some people are hell-bent on getting to rehab as if it will be the cure-all solution. It will be a good solution, but it's not a cure-all. And lastly, manage your crash. That will likely, 95% likelihood you're going to happen where you're going to have this crash. What does that mean? Expectations are very important. If I told you we're going to go on a hike and this hike's going to be the worst hike ever, you might mentally be okay with the fact that you know it's going to be the worst hike ever, rather than if I told you this is going to be the best hike ever and then it turns out to be the worst hike ever. You'll be much more demoralized in the second example than the first example, already pre-planning the fact that it's going to be incredibly dark, depressing. Cocaine, reward system, great escape, great high. Going through darkness, going through isolation, going through frustration, going through agitation, going through irritability, going through sleep problems. Cocaine, right, I'll go over there. That's not what we need. We need to know that we're going to get screwed over the next 2 weeks at least. Know that. And we can get over those 2 weeks. And after you get over those 2 weeks, maybe we'll get into a thing called the pink cloud, which I've just made a short on it. And the pink cloud is not something that actually is going to be very conducive or healthy. The pink cloud is a phenomenon where after they get over this period of 2 weeks, devastating symptoms, physical, mental challenges, they move into this pink cloud, which is, I feel fantastic. Oh my God, I'm sober a couple of weeks. I'm feeling great. This is brilliant. I have better sleep, more motivation, more focus, more clarity. All right, and they had this massive surge of coming back to life, overconfidence. But unfortunately, that's where people relapse. Why? Because this is the moment where they go, reality starts setting in. They don't feel as good. They don't feel as confident. They don't feel as happy. They don't feel as better sleep. They don't feel focused. They start feeling normal. And normal's not good. Normal is the old way that I didn't like the old way, so that's why I started taking drugs. And that's not only why we started taking, but that's the reason. So then we go back. And we fall back and we go back. Oh, I feel great now. I took the thing. Unfortunate. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Manage your expectations. Manage your crash. That's the point. First couple of days could be hell on earth. But that's normal. Some things you may or may not want to do in that time line. I understand if you feel completely devastated, depressed out of your head that you don't want to do anything. Don't be so depressed that you feel very negative. So you can be depressed and just realize you need rest, you need recovery, your body's getting back to a healthier place. Don't be depressed and when you're not doing anything for a couple of days, don't beat yourself up. Be okay with yourself. Yeah, you could go for a walk. Again, that might be too much of a push for you. You could go to the gym. You could run an Ironman, but that's way too much in my eyes for a person that's just recovering. But going for a gentle walk, going out with a friend, going to a nice friendly occasion, playing pool, doing whatever, sleeping as much as you need, as much as your body needs, do it. Like, just relax, get on Netflix, get on something, go through this period, take time off work if you need. And then also eat, drink healthily, water, of course, stay away from alcohol. They're like married, mum and daughter, mum and son, mum and dad, should I say, alcohol, cocaine, and then you got the kids, ketamine, ecstasy, and other. Those are some tips in that couple of days that you could use for quitting. Now let's look at the next phase, the rebuilding, the growth. The rebuilding phase is actually after this 2-week period. This is where that pink cloud starts to occur. This is where this exponential growth, but this is where relapses happen. The first thing you would do if you're not in help, still try your help, is to identify your triggers. For me, for you, for most people, that Snapchat text, that message, that message from the dealer, that message from the friend saying a few points. I think the world's biggest lie, something to do with a good man from Germany, a bad man from Germany, should I say, in 1940 or 1939. He said, all this, that's the first world's worst lie. It's going to be a better world with him. The second lie is, we'll just go out for 1 or 2 drinks. We'll just go out for 1 or 2 drinks. That is absolutely the biggest lie, and it's a trap. So look at your identify triggers. What friends, what people, what specific people, what times, what places, and that is the bars, that is the locations. What emotions? What emotions would get you to a place where you're like, you know what, I'm feeling really good right now. I want to excel. I want to take it higher. Or I'm feeling really bad right now. I want to go use again. And then also we all know Thursday, Friday, Saturday, highest likelihood of using. We also know for bigger occasions, bank holidays, Christmases, birthdays, holiday, all of those things, bigger, higher likelihood of using as well. If we can pre-plan, aka as I record, coming up to Halloween, it's this weekend, it's a Halloween weekend, and I know that if you go out or if a client goes out, the likelihood of them using skyrockets. It's not a guarantee, skyrockets. For you, how bad do you want to change? If you want to really change badly, don't go to the same location, the same number, the same friend, the same time every single week. It's pretty simple. It's not simple, it's devastating, it's negative, it's depressing, sitting at home, but it's healthier for you. It's way healthier long term. So, identify your triggers as part 1 of rebuilding. In the rebuilding phase, replacing your reward is the next step. What is that? What does that mean? Well, earlier on we talked about how dopamine hijacks your dopamine centers, how cocaine hijacks your dopamine centers. Obviously, we need to get a new high. What do I mean? Well, think about it. Cocaine 300%, sex 100%, chocolate 50%. I don't even eat chocolate, so I don't know they didn't do the statistics on me. But we do need to have a new high. And it doesn't need to be, you're climbing on top of cranes, hanging off with one arm. I mean, that's absolutely an adrenaline rush that I'm not going to do. Or you don't need to go base jumping or jumping out of planes every single day of your life. A simple walk in nature. But before I tell you about walking in nature or running, just look at the aspect of if I hooked you up to an ECGR, I think it's called, electrical magnetic scanner, right? I would actually show you photos of strobe lights, drinks, alcohol, Pablo Escobar, right? And your brain would just be firing, because it's so trained, so conditioned for this element of using. If I showed you photos of a walk, a nature, a couple holding hands, a nice holiday, your brain would just go, yeah, it's pretty cool, it's nice. That's how much it's hijacked your whole brain, your brain cells. They're not conditioned for what's good. So when you go for a walk, you might not feel enjoyable at first. When you go for a run, it might not feel enjoyable at first. For me, I do jiu-jitsu on Friday evenings. That feeling is higher than when I was using. Coming out of that jiu-jitsu gym, not every time, of course, but most of the time when I come out of there, I feel $1 million easily. So this rebuilding phase, this element of replacing your reward, I wonder what it is for you. Again, getting help, finding out what you loved, 5-a-side football on a Friday evening, going to play pool, going to do bowling, getting a new hobby, playing chess. I don't care what you do, But if you keep doing the same things, you're going to keep getting the same rules. And that is the definition of insanity. We're going to start rebuilding. So engaging yourself, getting some new hobbies, healthier habits, of course, is going to be a step on this ladder. One of the remaining keys of the rebuilding phase is to build a supportive list. Meaning, you could either have an extreme, you want to have 3 to 5 people in crisis mode, like if you're that open, you're that okay with contacting people, and they're okay with being contacted. You could create a list of 3 to 5 people that you feel would be there for you in the moment where you need them the most. I wish I was there for you. I genuinely do. I wish I was there. Not every single day, not every single rest of second of our lives, but for one of those moments at least. For one of those moments, I wish I could be there. The likelihood of you doing it all on your own is going to be very hard. My auntie had paid for my insurance when I was younger. My family was there on a continuous basis. And friends that I was there stopped using for the period of me coming out of sobriety. It really helped across the board. I stopped going out. It really helped me out across the board. Supportive groups, you could go again to those NA, AA, or even the group therapy in some way, shape or form, or even getting one-to-one professional help. You could have fantastic friends. You could start a hobby which gives you a new inclusive community, or that last aspect of the family/friend dynamic, or sober friends, let's say. The long game is the next phase here. Again, this will be broken into 3 phases too. The long game is something that is a couple of months, right? Long term usually is 5 to 10 years, but this is 3 or so plus months. This is where you can genuinely address why. Why did you do this? Why were you using this? Most men that I meet often and only say, I say only, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek, most men will say, I just use because my friend offered it to me and it felt good, so I kept using. And this is such an easy answer, but it's not true. Along with deeper reasons you did, that was true. Your friend did offer you, you did feel good, you did feel more confident, you did have this socializing aspect, you were on stage, you were on the table dancing, you were doing hectic and crazy things, yes. And for me, 95% bad, 5% good, reminiscent, good times in there for sure. But ultimately, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be for some unrelated, unresolved, should I say, trauma. And that could be for not feeling loved as you were growing up, so cocaine gave you the love. It could be simply that you've lost someone in your life, the grief, you buried your head in the sand, so this was your escape, and you still haven't addressed that type of thing. So there is many forms of how it will be manifested. So addressing your why, understanding it, and getting to it is going to be something that you will be able to prevent the circle happening again, because you'll be more aware of, oh, I used it because of this reason, so if I feel like I want to use in the future, what's causing me? Because it's not just, oh, it's Friday, the boys are out, I'm out. Yeah, there's deeper reasons. Cocaine is you felt incredibly sad before, now we're taking this and we're feeling incredibly happy. We need to address the why. So that's step 1 on that new phase of long-term planning for yourself. Next one's creating your environment. This environment element is around you creating a routine in yourself. It's about how to clean a room. It's about simple things. Maybe Jordan Peterson has said that and you know that. But clean your room. It's a very simple principle. But as you get a routine, I remember sit-ups, push-ups, motivational tapes, literally just playing this, blaring this, and I was getting fired up. I was going through this pink cloud. I was feeling fantastic. The most motivated I was feeling. It was great. But that's a routine. Your body, your mind, everything, everyone needs a routine. And that would be a step on it. Next, you could have meaningful goals, stuff that you want to work upon, right? The goal isn't that, I just want to have a holiday this year. No, the goal is I want to get to this weight. I want to have this amount saved. I want to learn about investing. I want to grow this dynamic of my life. These things are actual new environment. And again, your physical health. What's your standards? What's the hobbies you want to develop? Again, jiu-jitsu is something I took up when I looked myself in the mirror when I was recovering. I thought I was a shell of a human being. I was an empty soul. A lifeless body right in front of me when I was looking at myself. It's a vivid, disgusting image that I have in my mind, but I'm happy I have it. That version looks at this version and is much more prouder, much more happier, much more grateful that person did start doing the things that he said he wanted to do. You have a list of things you want to do. It's time to do them. And now is the opportunity for you to start dipping your toe into the things you want to do. With the long game, planning for slips is a possible thing. Slips can happen. 85% of people relapse over the first year. It's a crazy statistic. It might be hard for me to pop that on the screen, but I can pop up 50% over 3 months. And that's a much healthier understanding. 50%. I relapsed 3 times on my recovery journey. For you, I don't know what your situation is. I know before. So what I mean by relapse, I would have said, I don't want to use, 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 I don't want to use. Started getting help. Relapse 3 times sober. Right? And I understand for you, you're, I don't want to use, I don't want to use, I don't want to use, don't want to use, don't want to use, don't want to use. And if you don't have help, the likelihood of you just saying, I keep that, I don't, is going to keep going on. So I relapsed 3 times when I started getting help. If you could get help, it would be the best thing for you to do. Have an open mind, have an open book, let that person that you're working with help you rewrite the script for what the book has written so far. Let's change the chapters, create new resolves, new plans, new strategies. Planning for a failure, not necessarily the best thing in the world, but understanding it can happen is true. So when it does happen, crisis doesn't happen. It doesn't all get, the toys all get thrown out of the pram. You don't fall all the way back to square one. 3 months, 50%. The likelihood of you being in it is a coin toss. But understanding the patterns of what's happening. Are you going out to the same people? Are you going to the same location? Are you just having a couple of drinks just to test yourself, put yourself... These challenges, of course, if you're 6 points in, you're probably going to go, let's get a freaking bag, boys. It's Friday, it's Saturday, got nothing on. I'm off next week. I won't see my therapist next week, so I won't see him in 2 weeks because I'm on a 2-week off. Fail. Planning to get back on track is going to be a fantastic thing if it happens. There's a relapse prevention plan, and I'll discuss that in the next moment. Part 3 of this video is the moment before relapse. Again, I did 3 times, and I hope if you go to work with someone, you're going to have an element of relapse prevention plan. I use this with all my clients. It goes from who do you use with, what triggers you, what actually causes you to go back, what environment. Also, what coping mechanism strategies will you do to not use or feel differently next time? An example would be a HALT strategy. Am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? These simple things, asking and checking in with yourself in the moment, can be very helpful. Very helpful. So you're out with the lads, the party is going, you're a couple of drinks in. Instead of staying in the environment, actually leaving, physically moving out of there, going home early. These are all strategies that would be fantastic for you to know inside your DNA. Also, instead of thinking about the good things, instead of looking and going, wow, this is, yes, get that bag. You're going to go, hell nah. You're going to think of, instead of thinking from 10 to 12 o'clock, 10 to 1, 10 to half 12. Instead of thinking about that window, start thinking about the half 12 to 7, 8 a.m. window. You start thinking about that window. Start thinking about the 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. windows rather than the 10, 11, 12 p.m. windows. Look, because it's not going to be just this one time. How many times have you said that to yourself? It's just going to be this one time. We need strategies, systems, and thoughts in place. And if you don't have those, the likelihood of you actually making a difference is not going to be good. And I'll wrap this point up, at least this element of this video, which is the moments before using and what strategies and tools and techniques can we use. If you read a book, and the book is about business, if you just read the business book, you're going to get unconscious ideas around what to do in a moment. So if you just think business, your brain's going to go, maybe I'll do that. Oh, that looks like a good one. Oh, I've always thought about doing that. Your brain's going to start sprouting out into these other directions of life because you're thinking about business. If you're thinking about food, cooking, your brain starts going, what, this meal. You then start searching on YouTube those exact things that you're thinking. The same thing for this. If you have this DNA, strategy, systems, mindset ingrained into you, it's very easy for you not to use. But if you're just like, oh, that sounds good, that looks good, it feels good, makes sense. But I'm gonna, I'm not gonna learn extra. I'm just gonna go. It's nice to hear that strategy. It's nice to hear that. Am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? It's nice to hear that kind of check-in process. It's nice to hear. Just think about the 12, half 12 to 4, 5, 6. It's nice to hear. But will you do that with yourself when you're there and your friend is going, come on? Are you gonna go, dude? I'm not sitting in some random kitchen, jaw swinging, 6 a.m. I'm not doing it. Instead of going, 10 a.m. is going to be great. 11 a.m. is going to be great. The cake's coming out at half 11. We're going to be buzzing for the cake. No. thinking of the end rather than the sooner. So you got a 15-minute window that you could start, rule that you create for yourself. You've got an element of thinking about the future consequences rather than the near short-term consequences. You've also got a relapse prevention plan that you could start and even search online for a relapse prevention plan. Start integrating, start learning about it. Or you can book in for a free call with myself down below in the description. Look, I know it's hard. I literally have been there, and I've been there with clients many times. But if it was easy, you would have done it already by now. So the ultimate thing is getting help, looking at your environment, stop doing the same things, deleting the numbers. And all I ask for you, if this video resonated with you, hit the subscribe buttons. Maybe comment your story below. I would love to learn more about it, how bad it got for you, how much progress you've made, where you are today, how much you've spent on it over the last 10 years. That is an interesting statistic and thought for me. And if I could support you in some way, maybe reaching out, Gary the Expert on Instagram, garytheexpert.com, and also click the links in the description to find a bit more about podcast, my book. But with that being said, I hope you have a beautiful, fantastic upcoming weeks, months, and years. That's without a doubt. Maybe you hit rock bottom. Maybe you're there now. You can recover from it. It's not the end. It is just the beginning. So have a great day. I'll see you.